Well, he's now pink. So, yeah. Hey, what's up? We're back with another devlog. If you're new to this channel, let me introduce myself. My name is Aki. I'm a uni student from the Philippines and have been creating games recently. I am now creating The Last Ruins, a 2D Metroidvania, and in this devlog, I'll discuss what it's all about. The Last Ruins is a 2D Metroidvania set in a fantasy world in the year 2040. The game is set in a world called Pondra, a place where wizards, fairies, witches, and beautiful creatures of all sorts of kinds were once rampant. Without spoiling too much of the plot, there was a war that waged between the wizards and the corrupted Daedala, a species that will be further explored and learned about inside the game. This war waged for centuries, and the wizards lost. Now all that remains are a small tribe of villagers and wizards, and they're trying their best to survive despite the circumstance. Pondra was corrupted with the essence of the weird kinds, hence the decision for me to create a dark and eerie force that gives out a vibe that is corrupted. Now, the player is tasked to control Orion, one of the few remaining wizards that remains alive. It's your decision whether or not you want to stay in the village or discover the mysteries that lie inside Pondra's core. The Last Ruins is inspired by the games Hollow Knight and Patch Quest. In this game, I really want to give a sense of immersion, the feeling that he or she is inside a big interconnected world similar to that of Hollow Knight, a Metroidvania in simple terms. And similar to other Metroidvanias, the character also has their own sets of abilities that he or she could use and learn throughout the game. That's where Patch Quest comes in. If you haven't heard of Patch Quest, let me tell you a little backstory about the game. Patch Quest is a roguelike Metroidvania game made by Lychee Games where you are able to mount any enemy you encounter and defeat. That means any kind of enemy type you encounter, you could mount and use their abilities as your own as you encounter and defeat other enemies. I found this mechanic really interesting and it piqued me to implement a mechanic like that in a game I'll work on. In The Last Ruins, one of Orion's main mechanics would be that he would be able to possess any enemy he has encountered once he has defeated the enemy. By the magic he has learned, he'll be able to possess and use the abilities of the enemy he had just defeated. And that goes without saying, that since this will serve as one of the game's main mechanic, you'll be sure to see interesting enemy types in the future. But why wizards? Why include the Fireball Companion? Why a fantasy world? Basically, I wanted a world where I could be free in creating whatever my imagination limits me to create. A fantasy world would be perfect for that. In a fantasy world, there are no limitations to the creatures you could encounter, there are no limitations to the abilities the character could have, and there are no limitations to the world itself. As for the main character of the game, I initially wanted to create a mysterious and sleek character with a coat and magical abilities. After further contemplation, the description I gave could very well fit a wizard, and the wizard is capable of doing a lot of things too, so I decided to push through with making a wizard. As for the Fireball Companion, well, initially I really wanted to add a companion for the wizard to go through Pondra's challenges together. And then I thought of Cappy from Super Mario Odyssey. Cappy, to the best of my knowledge, is a companion Mario would have all throughout the game. Cappy would aid Mario by acting as Mario's projectile attack and will also aid him in the platforming part of the game. And that's what sparked the idea of a Fireball Companion. Since Cappy acted as Mario's cap, something that's in tune with this character, I thought of something that would fit into a wizard's world. That's the reason why I thought of a Fireball. He fits well with a wizard, and they would absolutely make a great duo. As for the progress of The Last Ruins, I've been working on fixing the tileset and parallax background of the game. The previous tileset just looked janky to me and did not actually fit a normal tileset a Metroidvania would have. After looking and observing the tiles of other Metroidvanias, I found that they usually only had texture on the top and sides, and will just leave the middle to be a filled out color. So in my own way, I recreated the tiles to fit that sort of theme. You could see corrupted dirt hanging out of the tiles, and I could say that it looks way better now. How about you guys? How do you feel about the new tiles? Should I make the dirt a little thicker or is it okay as is? Leave a comment down below for any of your suggestions. As for the parallax background, if you could recall in the previous devlog, the background will just cut when the player hits a certain Y threshold. This was due to the parallax being able to move in terms of the Y axis as well, so I went on ahead and made it so that even though the player jumps, the background will not move. In this way, it will give a sense that the forest is really big compared to the player. That's it for today's devlog though. I'm hard at work trying to implement the battle system for The Last Ruins, but that's for another week's devlog. This is Aki and I'll catch you all in the next one.